Very good afternoon to you here from Lennoxtown in Scotland. A special video blog, folks, for the folks across in the US that's been sweltering in unbelievable heat and humidity over the past few days. We've seen numerous records break. The dew point, the previous record at Minneapolis was 81 degrees of a dew point, and that was broken by 82 degrees yesterday. And there's been I believe there's been 3 days where the dew point has risen above 80 degrees. Combine that with mid to upper 90 degree heat, and you've got a recipe for disaster, folks. I really do hope that number one, you've got air conditioning. Number two, you're taking it easy. You're not really going outside during the mid to latter part of the afternoon if you can. It's really a dangerous situation indeed. What we're finding is, folks, the reason for the heat. There's been so much media coverage of the heat, but many folks, I'm sure, are asking the question, why is it so hot? You know, sure, we're used to, or should I say, you folks are used to, 90s, even low 100 degree heat in the summertime. Of course, it's mid-July, but there's been a combination, a series of events take place. It stems back all through the winter time. This created the perfect recipe for a pretty rare heat wave, to say the least, folks. Combine the very, very abnormally hot conditions where we've seen temperatures smash all-time records, anywhere from 111 degrees at Amarillo, Texas, to your 110 degree high at Oklahoma City. That was, of course, the hottest conditions since 1996. We've also seen 105 at Tallahassee in Florida. That was an all-time record back last month in June. But why has it been so humid and why has it been so hot? Number one, the heat. Simple. Drought conditions. Some of the worst drought, if not surpassing levels of the 1936 Dust Bowl. The 1930s were abnormally dry. That's where much of the nation's heat records, which still stand today, lie. 1936, the Dust Bowl. Very, very arid, dry ground. The drier the ground, the less moisture in the atmosphere. As the sun heats up the ground, there's very little, energy needed for evaporation. Because you've not got that soil moisture, there's more energy available to heating the ground up. That can feed back as the lower atmosphere heats up. Therefore, the pressures in the upper levels of the atmosphere, that high pressure that produces all the hot weather, intensifies. It grows and it becomes stronger and stronger with time. That's why we've been seeing such remarkable records fall. And what I'm going to say to you is this: combine that, the very, very hot conditions across the south. Doesn't take much when that upper level ridge of high pressure, the dome of hot weather, shifts northwards. Because you've got the drought into Kansas, up into even Nebraska, doesn't take an awful lot for that hot air to be transported northwards, up into the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, across into the Ohio Valley. There's not an awful lot of distance to cover, so that air mass can't weaken so much. So draw in that heat, upper 90s, low 100s into the Midwest. What have we seen over the springtime? We've seen remarkable rainfall. We've seen remarkable all-time records fall in terms of flooding, and the Red River Valley, which is basically on the western side of Minnesota, eastern side of North Dakota. A lot of moisture in the air. And as that heat from the south, remember it's abnormally hot, pushes across a very, very wet ground, then as the air heats up, that sun drives, penetrates those moist, saturated soils, it sucks up the moisture. And as it sucks up the moisture, then you release that humidity into the atmosphere. Folks, we've seen humidity levels that are equivalent to the Amazon rainforest, the equatorial regions of the world. It really must have felt yesterday and last night like folks in Minneapolis, folks across Minnesota, North Dakota, must have felt as if you were living in Bangladesh, Singapore, somewhere equatorial. And as that heat and the humidity combine, it creates those heat indices of very dangerous levels. 119, that breaks the all-time heat index for Minneapolis. It also was seen 120s, even a 134 degree heat index in Moorhead, Minnesota. Unbelievable. We're getting two extremes within the land of the US, and the atmosphere is reacting to that. Those two extremes within the earth, the soils releasing into the atmosphere, were creating those extremes both in the ground as well as in the atmosphere. The extreme heat, the drought in the south, as well as the flooded soils across the north. Those two combined, we're seeing that record heat indices. My concern, folks, is over the next 24 hours, we are going to see relief as a cold front sweeps down in from Canada. It's basically parked across the kind of central North Dakota and Minnesota. The problem is, folks, is nighttime temperatures are being held up so much more because of the extreme humidity within the air. We've seen a low this morning, I believe, of 83 degrees in Minneapolis. And those nights combined, those consecutive 2, 3, even 4 nights in a row where the temperature isn't getting below 80 degrees, that's putting a strain both in the power system as well as the human body. We've seen a perfect example of this back in 1995 in Chicago. Though temperatures went above 100, though heat indices went up into the 125 range, I believe there was parts of Illinois that kind of got close to the 130 heat index level. The biggest danger, folks, within a situation like this can be nighttime temperatures being so hot. Places like Chicago tonight, the low might not get below 80 degrees at O'Hare, but you get closer into the loop. O'Hare being 12 miles away from Chicago, so you've got slightly cooler, more rural conditions, so the temperature can drop off. If that temperature at O'Hare isn't getting below 80 degrees tonight, we might find Midway and within the loop of Chicago not get below, say, 84, even 85 degrees. That's your kind of conditions that can be the deadliest out of any type of ingredient within a heat wave. Nighttime temperatures are the most dangerous, folks, and it's just a remarkable situation indeed. The east is up next for the heat. We're going to be seeing the dome, the core of the heat, get pushed eastwards because there's a trough across the Pacific Northwest, producing those cooler conditions across places like Seattle, Portland. Across the Northwest, we're getting a push, so it's shunting the core of the heat eastwards. Places like DC, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, you're going to be knocking on the door, if not surpassing 100 degrees. Dew points, once again, high. Perhaps maybe not into the 80 degree range that we're seeing in Minneapolis. However, we're seeing those high dew points, and that's going to raise the heat index above 110 across the I-95 corridor. Dangerous conditions, folks. So I do urge you to take extreme caution. Do not exercise during the peak heat of the day, and please take frequent breaks. Drink plenty of water. Avoid alcohol, things like that. Lap on the sunscreen. It really is a very dangerous situation. In the next few days, it's going to be the core of the heat is going to shift from the Midwest to the East Coast. So stay tuned to the blog. I'm going to keep you updated as to what's happening across the US. And thanks for watching. Bye for now.